Gypsy chick. Hey there, it's Gypsy. First of all, I want to apologize for um, I'm still wearing my gi from karate, and I've sweated, and I have on no makeup. My allergies are kind of flared up, so my eyes are all, I just want to claw them out. And anyway, but I figured everybody's been talking about being authentic and being real and just putting it out there, so here you go. C'est moi. Enjoy. Um, but now, seriously, what I wanted to talk about, I actually have been watching a lot of videos lately. I have not had time to sit down and make a real video. I did the Marchetti deck ones, but, just because I was like, oh, this is kind of fun, I want to do this. But I haven't done a real, video for you guys in quite some time. In fact, this weekend, so any of you Wisteria witches watching this right now, just so you know, I did a gardening video this weekend on my phone and had some technical drama, aka crash and burn, when it came to trying to convert the files to something I could actually edit with my software. So I have a lot of silent Gypsy's backyard footage. Right. So anyway, I'm still working on it. If I can get it out this weekend, I will. We did a lot in our yard, and I was really excited to share it with y'all, so I'm going to work on it. But anyway, I digress. So this video is here on my channel, obviously, and I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One of the people I love watching is Raven Night Song, and she's been posting some really good stuff lately. If you haven't ever seen her channel, go check it out. I'm going to post a link to the video I'm talking about. But she did a video called Divine Comparison, and she just did it in the last few days or so, I think. But she talks about, kind of how I guess she was saying she Googled how to find God, just to see what would kind of come up. And it was all very Christian slanted. But the main point she was making was that it kind of, their descriptions or the methods or, whatever, which, again, was mostly Christian, but I guess probably not 100% of it. But it was all about finding God outside of the self. God was up here or over there, but he was, a separate entity from us personally, generally speaking. Then she said she looked up how to find the goddess, and it seems like a lot of the feedback that she found had to do with finding the goddess within, and how that energy is correlated with, self-empowerment and the connection to spirit and having the divine, within yourself. And a kind of a big contrast to the how to find God, that she found. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, that'd be pretty interesting to talk about, because, like a lot of other people, I completely believe in unity. I believe that source or spirit, I call it both, that which is around us and of us, it's not separate, and it's not even separate from each other. It's not that, in my perspective, I don't really do deity, which a lot of people know. I don't do personified deity. So as far as me personally saying the god and goddess, I'm more comfortable saying, male and female energy, masculine and feminine mixed together. That polarity is there, and it's necessary because you have to have the full spectrum. So you're going to have a black and a white, but they're all part of the same thing. Before I go into it too much more about my own personal beliefs, the other video that I kind of went, my little light bulb went ding. I was watching The Oak and the Moon. He is just, if you haven't seen his channel, just click off me right now and just go click on The Oak and the Moon. Right there. I'm going to link to his video that I'm talking about too. And he actually, I think, said that he had done a response to Kitty the Dreamer, who also posts awesome stuff, about what Ostara means. She talked about kind of like all the symbols that, we see in Ostara, and, the similarities, and, what the Christian religions kind of adapted, some of them, but their origins. Anyway, she knows a lot of stuff, so go check her out. But anyway, she talked about the symbolism. Well, Seth took it to another step, and he talked about what this season means for him personally. And a big thing that he talked about was balance. And that is the other side of, the major foundation of my personal beliefs is balance. You've got to have balance. Growing up, I grew up in a family that had a wine business. And, that was something I always heard was, everything in moderation. It's okay to drink wine, but don't drink like bottles of it. Have a glass, have 2 glasses, but, and so that was my first experiences with that. But no, it is, and it's true with everything. You've got to have balance. Parenting, 9 times out of 10, there's a good cop and a bad cop. You've got to have one parent that plays the sympathizer and one parent that plays the disciplinarian. And it's really better if they take turns doing that. Instead of having one always be the hard ass and one always be the fun one, you got to switch it up. It's got to be balanced. You've got to be able to do both roles. When you're part of a team, you have to be able to play all the positions. That gives you value. You can do anything. That applies to life. You've got to have balance. And I believe that, when it comes to God and goddess, or male and female, or masculine and feminine, dark and light, there is definitely a need for balance. Look at the extreme examples of masculine and feminine. You've got foo-foo bling-bling divas with their foo-foo and their la-la, but they can't do a push-up. Victim. Then you have the masculine extreme, which is extremely aggressive, extremely angry, extremely just off the wall, testosterone mania, that's no good either. You've got to have a balance. You've got Paris Hilton, you have the Hulk. Both of those things are terrifying. Nobody wants to be either of those things. But, you get towards the middle and you have... There you go. Everybody wins. It's the best of everything. Some of those most interesting people I know are the ones that have found that balance. I look for that in other people. I admire that in other people. The girlfriends that I have that I'm closest to, they have a little bit of both. They're not girly foo-foos, but they're not, trying to kick your ass either. They're balanced. And I strive for that. Whether I'm, doing fitness or, my eating habits, I try not to go nuts on one side of anything, which is a challenge for me because I have an obsessive personality. So it's very easy for me to just go off the edge. And I have. It's something that I do. When I say I strive for it, I should say I fight for it because I literally have to fight myself sometimes to stay close to center, depending on what it is. If it's something I'm into, I can go way over here and go nuts with it and lose myself in it. And if it's something I don't care about, I can let it completely slip. So, I have to be careful not to just sit and play with tarot cards all day, every day, or play computer games, because I'll do it for hours. And at the same time, I can't just completely ignore the house and the laundry. I'm never excited about doing either one of those things. Ever. So there has to be balance, or I would have a house full of garbage and dirty clothes, and I would have all of my relationships online through an avatar. That's not good either. I have these stones that kind of represent, the balance, the polarity, the polarity of the divine and how I understand it, as well as the unity of it. And so I have these things, and they came off my altar. Try to do an altar video too with my phone, and well, it's obviously hasn't been posted, so I'm going to let you figure that one out. Anyway, these are sodalites stones that I got, and as you can see, they're very different. I've shown these on a video before, but it's not uploaded anymore. I took it down. But this stone right here, it's rounded, it's thick, but it's sodalite. I mean, it's got the blue and the white patterns. So in that way, these are very similar. These are both sodalite, I don't know, probably from the same rock, I don't know. But, they're very similar. But this one, obviously, the shape is very different from this one. This is 3D, man. This is all over the place. 2D, 3D. 2D, 3D. So, you see what I'm saying? Divine polarity. They're the same, but they're different. They're opposite of each other, even though they're the same. There you go. Then I have a Shivalingam. And this is a cool stone that the awesome man at the rock shop I go to locally here gave me. He just gave it to me. Just, I was buying some stones, and I guess he could tell I was excited and, you know, loved those stones almost as much as he did. So he just gave me a Shivalingam. And this is, it's got a cool story. It's tied to Hindu religion. But this this represents both male and female energy, or the masculine and the feminine. But as you can see, I mean, it's all one stone. It's not a separated stone. It's just, you know, but it's got opposite ends. They're different, but they're part of the same stone. You know, so whereas here we have a representation of both things, here we see it unified. You know, this is the unified energy. This is what I'm talking about. This is it. You got to have balance. You got to have unity. Balance, unity. And those go on my altar. So Rita talked about divine comparison. Seth talked about balance. So for the two of you, thank you very much for posting that video. However, I'll see your comparison and your balance, and I'll raise you a prayer. So this is what I'm introducing now. And this is a question that I have that I want to pose to all of you. Because in the process of talking about these topics with Loverboy, who is my partner, you know, the topic of praying kind of came up, and it was in the face of death. If you were wounded or ill and you were on your deathbed, would you pray? And, you know, his term for it was hedging his bet, because he's not, you know, he's not a dogmatic person. You know, he does believe in a higher power, but, you know, he does not believe necessarily in, you know, the law of the Bible as it states in every phrase and every, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And so, you know, but he, you know, when we were talking about it, he was like, you're telling me if you were on your deathbed and you knew you were about to go, you wouldn't say one little prayer. You wouldn't be like, God, I blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't clear things up in those last moments. And I honestly said no. And I think he, you know, he seemed a little, really? You wouldn't just in case? And, you know, for me, here's my thing. If there is a conscious being that is over all and seeing over all, that level of consciousness is not going to care if I am addressing it or not in those final moments through prayer. You know, I have had, they were brief, but I have had moments, like meditative moments, when I was able to really relax my mind and, you know, clear my thoughts. And, you know, in those moments, there is a feeling of complete serenity and oneness, balance, that I can't really describe in my tiny vocabulary. It is just, I'll sum it up as saying it's an incredible feeling. So if I knew that I was dying, I would be more likely to start meditating than I would to actually pray words and address a person or a being. I would go right into the flow and just tap in, say goodbye. You know, I'm not gonna be, I'm not afraid, because I don't fear death, because I don't fear hell, and I don't fear, you know, some kind of a cosmic punishment. You know, I feel like we learn lessons here and then we move on. I'm not going to get into a whole afterlife conversation. If you believe, you believe. If you don't believe, you don't believe. You can't make yourself believe something that you just really don't believe. And that's where I was. That's where I am. Why would I pray if I don't mean what I'm doing, if it's not sincere? Pretending to believe something or defaulting to doing something that you think, that you've been taught is what you do, that to me doesn't seem like it would have much value when you're talking about energy. It's not, how am I trying to say, you can't just, either you believe something or you don't. My point is, I would not pray, not in the sense of prayer. And I really don't think that I would. And so I'm just curious, how you guys feel, as fellow pagans, or anybody, really anybody out there. But, obviously, Christians, I would expect that they would pray, and say, hey, here I come, or something, leave the light on, but for those of us who don't believe in the Christian God, what would you do? What would you do if you had the opportunity? It wasn't a sudden death situation. Would you say a prayer? Would you meditate? What would you do? So anyway, that was my question about that. So there you go. Gypsy actually posted a thoughtful vlog. I know. I was excited too. Please comment or do a VR or just do your own video and, just think some thoughts. It felt really good to get all this out. So I guess that's it. You guys have a great evening, day, whatever time it is there. Enjoy what you're doing. Much love and blessed be.